like an old lady. Dumb idiot. Difficult questions. Traumatizing. What was that even the question? Darius would probably kill me. Hello my loves, if you're new here, my name is Lily. I am an anxious girl who loves to read, and if you're not new here, then welcome back. I should have done this video a while ago, but let's get to know me. I changed the setup a little bit because my knees can't handle me standing like that for so long because I have bad knees. I'm like an old lady. And this is Fanta. It's not alcoholic, it is a plain Thursday. It's just Fanta. I filmed this previously. This is my second time filming it, and I was just rambling on with no like clear direction. I decided to do it again because I can be a yapper, and I just googled Bookish get to know me questions, and I found this website that has a bunch, and so I just thought that like I'll put the question on the screen and then I'll answer it as best as I can, and hopefully you guys will get to know me a little bit better. How does that sound? You can answer, you don't have a say. So first thing you need to know about me, I can be a bit of an idiot, but in a good way, like just like dumb idiot, not like mean idiot. I think we should just go through the basics about me. My name is Lily. I am 23 years old. I turned 24 on the 24th of July. That should not have been as difficult for me to remember as it was. So I'm a summer child, I'm a Leo, I'm Swedish, I still live in Sweden. I want to move from Sweden because I don't like it. I joined BookTok in 2021, I do believe it was, maybe even 2020, but I think it was April 2021. So recently I celebrated my like, what will it be? My 5th year. It's 2025, right? And I joined BookTok because I love books and I wanted to talk about books and share it with friends, and I have gained my very closest friends that I have today from BookTok. I wouldn't be where I am without them, and I wouldn't have as great of a life without them. I love just the community of BookTok, and I'm very happy that I started a BookTok because I was very hesitant to do it because I've always been bullied, and I was still living in that, you know, childhood town where all my bullies were, and I was so scared that they were going to find it and ridicule me. But then I was like, they've ridiculed everything about me anyway, so what's one more thing? It doesn't matter if they're gonna be small tiny people who do such things because of their own insecurities, if it can bring me joy. Since that like thing where you can see who checked your like profile on TikTok showed up, I have seen a couple of, you know, familiar names from my childhood check my page every once in a while, and now I can just laugh about it. If they're there for book recommendations, that's lovely. I'm so happy that they are reading and maybe gaining some more empathy, because we all know that people who read have a tendency to show more empathy towards people. And if they're just there to make fun of me, then I hope they're happy with themselves. First question, what's the best book you've read over the past year? Does year count the best book I've read in 2025 so far, or from May this year to May last year? It depends on how we define over the past year. Oh, that's a difficult question. Last year in 2024, which would be the past year, my favorite book was House of Flame and Shadow. I think The 7 Year Slip was in second place. And then so far this year, it must be, I mean, I have to like Sunrise on the Reaping because it was just absolutely amazing. But then The Language of Dragons was a really good new fantasy book for me. I absolutely loved that. Great Big Beautiful Life, I read it recently. My latest 5-star book was Direwolf. I know, but I can't just give one answer. I hate those questions. I can't just say one book. There are so many amazing books, but those are some of the best books that I've read, depending on your definition, in the last year. It's so awful to talk about yourself. It's traumatizing. Which fictional character do you feel the deepest connection with? I think the first fictional character that was like the first book I read as an adult, like not as a teenager, which is the definition of an adult. I feel like that was Bryce Quinlan from Crescent City. I've never been as affected by a book as I was by House of Earth and Blood, and it was one of the first books that I read when I like started reading to the extent that I am now. Even though there are a lot of differences between me and Bryce Quinlan, on like a soul level we're very much alike, and I see a lot of myself in her and she really resonates with me. But then someone who is more like, I'm looking at this person and it's like seeing myself in the mirror, that would be Rose Calloway from the Addicted Calloway series. Her books like Kiss the Sky and Fuel the Fire, I read about her and I was like, that's me. She's very close to my heart. Was that even the question? Yeah, the deepest connection. I mean, I feel a deep connection to Bryce just because she was the first, where I was like, that's a different sensation. Like, it's a bit creepy, you know, to be connecting to someone who's not real in that way. But then Rose was really like, put a mirror in front of me, and that's Rose. That's also one of the reasons that I pretty much got a tattoo for Rose's books, but mainly for Rose. I felt very much like everything that I hate about myself, or have been like almost taught or conditioned to hate about myself as a woman, because women aren't like supposed, according to society, to behave in that way or be like that. Those are the parts of Rose that make her Rose, and that makes her the strong, like powerful, confident, absolutely amazing character that she is. The best sister. It's the parts of her that like her love interest loves about her the most, and I'm like, if I can love Rose because of all of these features or all of these personality traits that she has that I have as well, then I can love them within myself as well. And that's why I feel like I have a really deep connection to her. What are you reading right now? Right now I am reading a book called The Wolf King. I'm reading it on my Kindle. I started it yesterday. I finished Diabound and it was a 5-star read, and then I immediately jumped into The Lies of Lena because they've both been very talked about on BookTok recently. I started The Lies of Lena yesterday, but I got 50 pages in and I decided that, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm not vibing with the writing style, I'm not liking the story, like there's no part of this that is making me want to continue it. I did something that I very rarely do, and I DNF'd it, and I really want to get better at DNFing books because I don't want to spend a lot of time forcing myself through books just because I feel a need that I have to, because I have a difficulty with leaving things unfinished. And so I chose last night, quite late last night, to start The Wolf King instead, because I felt like I wanted more wolves after Diabound. It almost put me in a slump, so I felt like if I didn't read something wolfy, I would be put in a reading slump from Diabound. I went on BookTok and I searched for werewolf Rex, and someone recommended The Wolf King and it sounded really good. Someone said that it was like the love interest gave like Jamie Fraser but make him a werewolf, and it's like werewolf and they wear kilts and they have Scottish accents, and he like kidnaps a princess and the princess is the main character, and I was just like, okay, let's go. Am I a rereader? Yes, I am. I don't really understand this question because I'm like, how can you not be a rereader? Like, just like I most often don't watch something new but rewatch things that I've already seen and loved because it's comforting, because I know what's coming and what's gonna happen, I do reread books in that same way. If I can, just because there are so many new books that I do want to read and pick up, so if I can, I will listen to them as audiobooks the second time I read them. What is currently on your TBR list? 2 books that have been on my TBR list for a long time because they haven't been released yet is Destructively Yours, which is the 2nd book in the new series by Kristen Becker-Rickey, the authors. Not Ricky. What am I saying? Krista and Becca Ritchie. Krista and Becca Ritchie, who are the authors of the Addicted Calloway series and also Wild and Wrangled, which is I think the conclusion of the Lila Sage cowboy romance books. So those are on their way to me. I don't have them physically at this minute, but they have been ordered because they were on my TBR list. Physically, we have like The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab because I loved A Darker Shade of Magic, and I've had that on my shelves for like over a year, and for some reason I haven't delved back into that world, but I really want to. I have Shaze Me by Tessa Bailey, The Unbroken, I can't remember who the author is, but I do believe it's like a dystopian type book has also been on my TBR for a really long time. And then we have a couple of books like Silver Elite was released recently. I really want to read that, but I'm thinking I'm gonna look for that when I'm in Edinburgh. And then of course we have like books that are released in May, like The Next Boys of Tom and Book. I need that in my hands right now. And then we have Rewind It Back, which is the Windy City series conclusion. But there's a bunch. Is there a book that you think would make a great movie? This is a difficult question because I do enjoy movie adaptations sometimes, not all the time. The Maze Runner adaptation, the Hunger Games adaptation, amazing, exquisite. Amazon Prime has done some recently, the Wheel of Time series. I haven't read those books because I feel like a lot of what I've heard about them is a bit problematic, and they were written at a time where the views on women aren't great, but they've corrected some of that, or a lot of that, from what I've heard in the TV series. So I do really enjoy the TV series. So there are some that I do enjoy, but I'm a bit like careful of like wishing for movie adaptations, because some books I just feel like that you can't do them justice. Like I would never want an Addicted Calloway TV series or movie, just because like you can't cast these characters. So I'm gonna play it a little bit safe, and I'm actually gonna say that I think that, no, you know what, I changed my mind. I do believe that An Ember in the Ashes by Sabata here could become an amazing movie franchise if it was given budget, and if it was given dedication, and the people who were adapting the movie loved the books. Because I feel like a lot of movie adaptations are just movie makers wanting to make money, and I feel like the best book to movie adaptations are the ones where the directors and the actors and everyone, the screenwriters and everyone involved, actually care for and like the book, actually like wants to make it good for the reader audience that already exists. Because I feel like you can tell when it's just like, we just want to make money off of this, and they don't actually really care or know the characters or the world at all. So I feel like with that love and care, the An Ember in the Ashes series would be amazing as a movie. Is there a specific genre you read the most? If so, what and why? I read the most fantasy and romance. Like my reading past and future consists of mainly fantasy and romance, or a combination of the two. I feel like originally I was a straight up fantasy girly. Like I've mainly throughout my childhood and teenage years, and then as a young adult when I started to really get into reading, I was only picking up fantasy books. And then I wish I could remember what romance book it was that got me into reading romance. I think I would probably have to say that it was Pride and Prejudice.
What excellent boiled potatoes.
If you could date or be best friends with a fictional character, who would it be? Well, those are two different questions. I feel like if I could be friends with a fictional character, I would love to be a part of the Chestnut Springs girl gang. Like I think they would be so much fun, because you have Willa, and then you have like the more level-headed but still fun Summer, and then you have Winter, who I relate to deeply, and then you have Sloane, who I feel like is mellowing them out, and then the last girl who I can't remember from the last book, I can't remember her name, but I would love to be friends with like Aileen, Manon, Elide, Lysandra, Bryce, Danica, Nesta, Emery and Gwyn. Like being a part of their reading club would be so much fun. Who I would want to date? Now that's an interesting question. There's so many. Like I am an Asriel girly through and through. I am also a worshipper of Darius Acrux. I love that man. I would love to hop on and ride his dragon. That sounded way dirtier than I meant it to. Surprisingly, from like Fourth Wing, I would choose Garrison or Bodhi. I would love to be the meat in that sandwich. I'm a Kate Eaton girly. I think like you get a sense. I'm also a sucker for like Raisin Hawthorne. I love Charlie Cobalt. He doesn't even have his own book yet, but I would die for that man. None of these men would be very interested in me, I don't think. I love when I read to think that it's me, that I'm that girl, you know, but I am not. I am so not. most of the men that I mentioned, like Darius, would probably kill me. He would probably not like me at all. I would also not be a very like high-ranking shape-shifting form. Like I would probably be like a mole rat or something like that. Grayson Hawthorne would definitely look at me like I was the dirt under his shoe. I am not intellectual enough for that man. I would not in real life choose Kate Eaton simply because he has a kid. I love fictional Kate Eaton, but if I met a Kate Eaton in real life, no matter how handsome or amazing he was, I would not want to be with him just because I don't want to be a stepmom. I don't want kids in any way whatsoever. So like it wouldn't work. So I'd probably get with one of his brothers instead. Hardcover or paperback, which do you prefer and why? Well, I have a mix of both on my shelves, as you can see. I don't think I could choose because I feel like when I've read a couple of paperbacks and then pick up a hardback, it feels so good. It's so satisfying to take off that dust jacket and sit there with a hardback and just like, I feel so intellectual. I feel so rich. I feel so fancy. That's how hardbacks make me feel. But then once you've read a hardback, you're like, I want to go back to the comfort of a paperback, a floppy paperback that's like, I can put it in my bag and it doesn't weigh that much. And I can just lie there with it above my head without my arm starting to ache in a second. I love them both. What's a book that you think is underrated? I do think the Addicted Calloway series isn't hyped as much as it should be, but a book that I like is seriously underrated that I haven't seen anyone but myself talk about on Book Talk, and that is the Crown of Feathers trilogy. That is an absolutely amazing series, and I don't understand why more people aren't talking about this. Like, we have a, like, you know that Robin Hood movie where like Robin Hood's daughter chops off her hair and pretends to be a man to get to fight? We have like that kind of situation where she like dresses as a man and pretends to be a boy so that she can get into the like rebels and become a Phoenix Rider because they're only training boys, but she isn't like rich or a like rebel legacy. She's an outsider, so she has to like work in the stables and kitchens and train with them at the same time so that maybe someone will sponsor her so that she can become a Phoenix Rider. But there's also so much else going on. Like, there's this massive plot that's like in the background that will become bigger and bigger for each book, and it's multiple POV, and we have this really like tension-filled romance, and there's a romance in all the POVs because we have characters in different parts of this world, and it's like the like Avengers thing where like the characters throughout the books are like in different places of this world, and then eventually they will come together. It has everything. Share a bookish pet peeve of yours. Dog earring, breaking the spines. But if we're gonna talk like not when it comes specifically to books, but like just when you talk about books in general, I can't really stand the whole when you give a review but it's really you just saying, I think people are lying when they say they like this book. Like, just because a book doesn't seem like it's for you, or maybe you picked it up and didn't like the book, like being that like aggressive in the way, or like even demeaning, because it's like demeaning anyone who has read this book and enjoyed it. And I feel like we can critique books and be like, hey, this book wasn't for me, this is why, without being demeaning or a little bit like it's getting too close to like Mean Girls bully vibes for me, when it's like, if you say you like this book, you were lying, or like BookTok lied to me when they said they liked this book, and it's like, just because you don't like it doesn't mean that a lot of other people didn't. I think it's also important to bring into that negative review conversation that like we can keep a good tone towards other readers when talking about this book. And it's also, I see some BookTokers, I've blocked some of them, who only give negative reviews, and they only pick up BookTok books to negatively critique them, but also in that critique towards the book, critique the intellect of the readers who enjoy those books. I've heard them say phrases like, you must be stupid if you like this book, or only stupid people can enjoy this, or this is dumbing down an entire generation, and a bunch of these like bullshit things that are just like, if you need to pick on others to make yourself feel better, just say that. So that's a massive pet peeve. Share a book quote that has stayed with you. There are so many, but I am going to say I Am Made of Memories by Madeline Miller from the Song of Achilles, and I even have part of it tattooed. If you take it out of the context of the book, even though within the context, I can't speak, within the context it's heartbreaking and was a moment where I was sobbing. If you take that quote out of the context of the book and of Achilles and Patroclus, I think that resonates a lot with me, because without our memories, we're not who we are. On a larger scale, if we talk about memories in the sense of like our history and remembering our history, that is so important, because those who forget history or ignore history are doomed to repeat it. And some people in power are doing that today, and that is, I mean, we see the horrors of the consequences of that all the time. We can't make a better world if we ignore our history. But then if we like scale it down on a personal level or individual level, I am who I am because of my memories. I am me. The Lily sitting here talking to you is only talking to you the way that she is and about what she is and giving you a sense of who she is because of her memories. Like, I'm talking about myself in third person, that's really awful. If I were to lose all my memories tomorrow, like all my memories, I wouldn't be me anymore. I would be a shell. Like, Lily, the Lily that you know, would be gone. You can never get her back in the same way as I am now, because I would gain new memories. And even if those old memories came back, or parts of them came back, that experience and the memory of that experience would have forever changed me. We all are made of memories. But definitely not least, what is your favorite comfort read? And I feel like I've mentioned these books so much, so I'm not gonna give a specific title. I might actually, but my favorite comfort read is a fantasy or a romance. Like, that's why I read the genre. But if we're gonna talk comfort reads in the way that like going back to the same one over and over again, it's gonna be the Alicia Galloway series or the Boys of Torment series. The Boys of Torment maybe a bit more just because I've listened to them so many times. That was, I don't know how many bookish questions that was, and I don't know if this was what the request I had in mind when they asked me to do a get to know me. But this is a bookish account where I share my love for books and I'm gonna talk about books, and I feel like you're getting to know me as a reader. That's why I focused on a bit more bookish questions. There's not that much to know about me. And that I don't talk about a lot, and I don't think I talk about it enough, is that as well as a reader, I'm also a writer, and I am working on a fantasy novel, and I have been working on it for years. But hopefully I'm in my last round of edits, and I would hopefully be able to start querying for agents soon. If that is something that interests you, I can talk a bit more about that on my account, and maybe do a day in the life, a week in the life vlog once I've finished school and graduated and I'm able to focus a bit more, because I am writing my dissertation right now, so that is what I'm focusing the most on. I can talk and film a bit more about that if that's something that will interest you. But yeah, that's me. Hi! Welcome to my channel. If you made it this far and watched / listened for this long, thank you so much. If you want to hang around, do subscribe and come join my little bookish corner here on YouTube. That was it for this video. So have a nice day, a nice week, a nice month. Be kind to each other always, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!